Well, everyone, it is the same day, and we have the reveal of what this new service or returning service is going to be. So it's supposed to find out tomorrow due to a source that usually has slightly earlier announcements. It's Ishran or Ishran, however you pronounce it, Aviation on Instagram. Um, Usually is able to find some information about new air service and publish it a little bit earlier than the airlines like to. I don't know where his sources are, but it's a very trustworthy source. He's been right every single time from what I can remember. So I do trust this. The grand reveal is pretty much exactly what I predicted. Sun Country will be starting to service to Syracuse, New York. It's crazy. I'm speechless. I mean, this has been a dream of mine for, to see something like this come to fruition. I've been praying for Sun Country for as long as I can remember. It's just, I mean, especially, the fact that it's my channel logo, I mean, that's hardly anything in retrospect to what this whole air service is. It's just kind of interesting. But Sun Country, I've just always wanted to to fly here, especially with Minneapolis. It's a service that I thought we needed to have for the longest time, and after years of waiting, it's finally here. And it's not really making sense in my mind that this is happening. I know that it's happening. It's just, I figured it would happen at some point. I just didn't know when, and just waiting. I saw an article last summer that mentioned it was just talking about Sun Country in general, and it said something along the lines of Sun Country will be willing to add flights to Minneapolis that Delta has abandoned, like Syracuse. It said something like that, and I figured, oh, well, maybe they're actually going to start service here. That alone was exciting, and it wasn't even referencing anything. It was just an example, and here it is. Today it's been announced that Sun Country will start service to Syracuse, my hometown. I literally am. It's just weird. I mean, I'm sorry for, stumbling, but I just can't believe it. It's just weird to be saying Sun Country and Syracuse together. It's just so awesome that this is finally happening. Yeah. This is a dream come true. It is on their website now. They've updated their website. So here I am on Sun Country. Syracuse. Oh man, to Minneapolis. Now this is interesting. It shows Gulfport, Indianapolis, Louisville, Minneapolis, and Raleigh-Durham. Now it's just to Minneapolis, but I'm wondering if maybe you can connect, or if it's like kind of like what Breeze does, how they have the Breeze through services. If you can go to these other destinations, it doesn't really make sense to fly from Syracuse to Gulfport. But if you have a stop in Minneapolis, which is the final destination for most people, I guess it would make a little more sense. I don't really know. But we're going to look at Minneapolis here because that's obviously the direct flight. And this is scheduled to start in June 2024. That might seem like a long while out, which it's not horrible. I mean, it's already October. November will be here before we know it. And this is good because with a service like this, again, as I mentioned in the previous video, it's not necessarily like a bad addition. It's a little bit more obscure than maybe Buffalo to Minneapolis. Buffalo's closer. Buffalo's a bigger city. They have traffic from Canada that flies through Buffalo. A little more demand for that city. So it gives time for, word of mouth, and it gives time for people to hear about Sun Country, find out who they are, where they're flying from this region. So I think that this is best case scenario. I don't know yet if this is summer seasonal. I would imagine that it is, which is good, because no one really wants to drive or fly to Minneapolis, go to Minneapolis in general in the winter time. So I would think something like May through October. I think I actually mentioned this in the previous video. May through October would be ideal. June and September, it's kind of like a sandwich. honestly, with Syracuse's best months. May is really good. June is good, but slightly less. July and August are relatively similar, about as good as May and October, slightly above, if anything. September drops back down, and then October kicks up again to near summer levels. So, despite, as I said, September and June, May through October would be a perfect schedule. I'm thinking that this is probably going to be like a mid to late June through early September flight. I don't know yet. We're going to pull it up here, and it might be depending, on how well the service does in the coming years. So, interesting. Okay, so I've pulled it up here. It doesn't have a huge runtime, so okay. Well, that's better. It's a Thursday Sunday. I've maybe mentioned this before. Thursday Sunday. If you're gonna do a service like this, Thursday Sunday is most definitely the days of the week that you should be flying that service on, because especially if they're evening flights. You fly out on Thursday evening, so you have most of the day or all day Thursday at work. So you go to work Monday through Thursday, so you're really only missing Friday, which if you're at school, probably not a huge deal if you're missing a Friday. Thursday, again, you're going to be in school, you won't miss much. If if you have a full-time job, Thursday evening, you'll have all day at work. Friday, maybe depending on where you work, maybe you'll miss something, but it's only one day of the week, really. Sunday is good, too, for returning from really either destination to the other, because you have the whole weekend there, plus Friday you had in that destination, and Sunday evening you fly back, you go to work the next day, and you have most of the day Sunday before you fly back home. So Thursday, Sunday, evening flights are most definitely the way to do it. So Thursday, Sunday, we got that taken care of. It starts in June 2024 on June 6th, which is a Thursday. So, and it runs through July. I'm shocked it doesn't go through August, because August has actually historically been a few thousand passengers, actually around 10,000 passengers higher than July for Syracuse Airport specifically. So I'm wondering, I really hope that if bookings are good, they're going to actually extend the schedule. But, for a new service like this, a new airline to the airport, it's great to do a little bit less ambitious to start, see how it goes. Obviously, you don't want them to pull out of the airport. But I'm thinking that either this year, if the bookings are good and they have the resources, they're going to extend it through at least August, which is going to be really good to see, And then maybe next year, once they look at, load factors and whatever, maybe they'll even go May through October. That would be ideal. As I said, that would just be perfect. May through October, evening flights Thursday, Sunday would be just the perfect frequency, time, everything, run time in reference to months for a service like this. That would be really ideal. But nonetheless, Syracuse Airport, as I've talked about many times in the past, being my hometown, it's great to see our airport thrive. As I said, passenger numbers are 12% higher than 2022, so about 10% higher than 2019. Airport's growing at double the national rate, which is great. I think that's in terms of passengers. Fastest dropping airfares along the thruway, so out of Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, Syracuse for the fastest dropping airfare network. We have 9 passenger airlines, which puts us above Rochester, Albany, and I want to say, I think Buffalo, because Buffalo doesn't have Allegiant or Breeze. They have Sun Country. So, yeah. This is just going to create competition at our airport, which is really awesome. So 9 passenger airlines out of Syracuse now, which it's crazy to think about that. I mean, 9, it's not a huge number, but in terms of the amount of airlines serving an airport, especially the size of Syracuse, really, really solid, really good. Something that's also a consideration when I'm referencing competition, this may end up prompting Delta to retaliate and resume their MSP service. We saw this with Frontier and Breeze with Fort Myers. Breeze started Fort Myers, or not started, but they announced Fort Myers, which is actually going to start Frontier a month from tomorrow. No, Breeze will start Syracuse Fort Myers a month from tomorrow. Frontier will start it a day earlier, so exactly 1 month from today, Frontier will start it. Delta may end up retaliating. That would be really awesome. I know that Delta and Sun Country have kind of had some friendly beef, I guess, if you will, with each other out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. So I really would not be surprised if this prompted Delta to start their MSP service. Obviously, MSP with Delta is more of a connection hub, and maybe Sun Country is a little bit, but I think for Sun Country, MSP is more of a final destination, which I don't know why MSP of all places. Usually airports like MSP that maybe not have as much point-to-point demand would be for connections, but Sun Country is just doing what they do best. So that's going to obviously, if Delta resumes it, that's going to drive down airfares for both airlines. Even if Delta is still going to be a little bit more expensive, it'll be a little bit more competitive. Sun Country and Delta airfares being lower will likely add a little bit more demand, I guess, for each service. If prices are cheaper, people are more likely to book a flight, leading to better load factors, maybe more passenger totals for the whole year in that case. We had MSP in the past on Delta, and that actually operated on the A319 during the summer. So I see no reason at all why they can't at least try one daily CRJ900, even if it's just for connections. I completely see that being a possibility. That would be best case scenario, but nonetheless, as I was saying, we have 9 airlines now. This is our 30th destination out of Syracuse. Mind-boggling, can't believe it. This is a really, really good ad, and this is really one of the final 3 pieces to the puzzle. Now I'm just hoping for Chicago Midway on Southwest, as I mentioned in the prior video. That'll add at least one daily service. I'm pretty confident in that. And then JetBlue to Fort Lauderdale. We have Fort Lauderdale on Allegiant, so that's why I didn't mention that in the previous video as that being a possibility, because Allegiant still serves that. But for JetBlue to resume Fort Lauderdale, Southwest to resume Chicago Midway, just the more flights, the better. The more airlines, the lower the airfares will get, the more people will fly. And the region itself is growing. Even if we didn't have more airlines coming and decreasing airfares, the airport would still be growing, just because the population has actually grown here surprisingly in the recent years. There's a lot of economic, I guess, just economic growth is what I'm trying to say. And I mean, yeah, the passenger totals for 2023 are on track to exceed the previous busiest year in 30 years, which was 2019, and it might even pass that if the next few months are good. So this is crazy for this to be happening today on October 16th, Monday, October 16th, 2023. Sun Country, not officially Sun Country, has announced service to Syracuse, but very trustworthy sources have, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a more formal announcement coming tomorrow, as the airport has alluded to. So with all that being said, I hope you guys are excited for what's to come for this airport, and honestly, the whole aviation industry in general, Sun Country Airlines in particular, because that's kind of the highlight of this video. Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. This is a great service. I'm very excited for this. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's little announcement, I guess, kind of discussion. I'm really happy to be here. I kind of figured that this was going to happen, but, you know, just to actually have confirmation that it is just sets it in stone. And, you know, this is when you're able to actually put it out there and discuss it for real. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Before I go, they did actually announce 11 destinations total. I will pull that up for you guys real quick. I'm sorry, I don't want to stay here too long because that can get boring. So I'm going to go quickly over to the source that I found these from. I will give this account a shout out type of thing. So I'll show you guys what it's looking like. Ishriyan Aviation, something like that. So I mispronounced it to begin with, but nonetheless, this is what the account is. Go follow. If I find a way to, I'm not very technologically advanced. If I find a way to, I will put a link in the description so you guys can go follow this account. That's fitting. My guys are talking about the new service. So the other destinations, Montreal and Toronto, that's really good. Those are international destinations, obviously, from Minneapolis, St. Paul. You got Albuquerque, Billings, Boise, Grand Rapids, Houston Hobby, Missoula. That's really good. Missoula's, oh, that's going to be so good for them. Really happy for them. Oakland, Syracuse, of course, Washington, IAD, which is a resumption, all from Minneapolis-St. Paul hub. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, I'm going to let you guys go now because we've been here for 15 minutes. So once again, I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very excited to hear your remarks, thoughts, comments, anything, questions that you may have. I'll try to answer them. Please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.